All right, chat. Welcome in to the stream, chat. We got a lot planned for today, a lot of important information going down. What an interesting Thursday night football game we have going on because there are so many injuries, chat. There are so many injuries you cannot even pinpoint what we're even looking at, bro. Welcome in everybody to the chat, man. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Born or Demarcado with the flex. My goodness. We are looking for scraps right now. We are looking for scraps. What is up, everybody hopping in the chat, man? We are just now kicking it off. Thursday night stream. You guys know the vibes, bro. This one is tough because it looks like Michael Carter may be the lead running back. Kendrick Bourne is probably the safer option here just because we really don't know what to expect with Amari DeMarcado. I would go with Kendrick Bourne just for that safety aspect. If you want to go with Amari DeMarcado, it's fine. But I want to see how that running backfield is split before we get too deep into trusting them in our starting lineups. What is up, everybody hopping in the stream, man? Let's go. Yes, sir. That is true, man. Shout out everybody in the stream. Spam your starts to questions, whatever you got. I will be going through the Thursday night football game as we usually do. Should we stream Bourne? I would say no. It's going to be way too boom or bust for Kendrick Bourne this week. They also have Demarcus Robinson, who might honestly act as the wide receiver one for the 49ers. But going through this matchup just in general, shout out to everybody in the stream if you're just now hopping in. We are going to go over this Thursday night football game. It's a tough one for start sits because you're obviously going to be starting the main guys. You're going to be starting Matthew Stafford here. You're going to be starting Puka. You're going to be starting Devontae Adams, Kyron. When it goes to the 49ers, though, it is definitely more of a toss-up. Now, I do think Kyron Williams and the Rams in general are going to find a lot of success with outside run schemes. The 49ers do allow a lot of fantasy points to outside zone runs compared to straight down the middle. Can Kyron Williams find the end zone, though, is going to be the deciding factor in this matchup for him at least. I think it's possible. This 49ers defense is good, but without Bosa now, it just becomes that much more positive of a matchup. I don't want to start much of anybody on this 49ers team. I mean, Mac Jones, he's played serviceable enough. Brock Purdy has thrown 2 interceptions per game so far in his start, so it's not like he's been crazy better. But this game is definitely in for some good one, and we're starting Christian McCaffrey. This guy, by the way, guys, Christian McCaffrey is running more routes per game than their wide receivers are. When Pearsall has been healthy, whoever is the wide receiver one, Christian McCaffrey is running more routes than the wide receivers, which is absolutely insane. Like, Christian McCaffrey is exactly what we drafted him to be. But shout out to everybody in the stream, man. If you're just now hopping in, spam your questions. Now is that part of the stream where I will be answering it and all of your questions here. Let me know in the chat also who you're taking. Are we taking the Rams or the 49ers in this matchup here? I got to go with the Rams. Man. Like, who's going to stop Puka? And who's going to generate offense on the other side? I fully expect Christian McCaffrey to get, like, at least 13 targets this game. Because who else is it? Who else is it? That is the main question. Rams. Andrew says Rams. Yeah, it's got to be the Rams, man. It's got to be the Rams. But let's get in to some of these start-sit questions. Guys, thank you so much for hopping in here. If you are just now pulling in, make sure to hit that like button on the stream. It takes 2 seconds. It's free to you, and it helps me and this channel out as a creator so much. And it's that much easier for me to answer your questions because I try to memorize the like notifications that I see popping up in the chat as well. Are we going with Swift or David Montgomery in this matchup? Now, with DeAndre Swift, I would not be surprised to see Kyle Monangai getting used more and more. But is that going to be that big of an issue now? That is the question. And I don't think so. I don't think so, chat. Should I play the 49ers tight end Jake Tonges or leave in Juwan Johnson? You know, Juwan Johnson is coming into this matchup questionable. We also, guys, do have Taysom Hill, who has just been taken off the PUP list. I don't think Taysom Hill is going to play this week, but just in general, that is something to know if you are an owner of Juwan Johnson, because when he comes back, he probably will tank his value just a little bit. So if you have him, now might be the time to look to sell. But as far as his injury goes, he's trending towards playing. So I personally would wait for Juwan Johnson. But I mean, Jake Tonges, man, like there's nobody else that's gonna get targets. Like it's Kendrick Bourne, it's Demarcus Robinson. It's absolutely crazy. Thoughts on the 49ers wide receivers right now? See, this is a great question, and it's a good one to bring up in this chat, guys. If you're just now hopping in, make sure to hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. It's free to you. It's a lot more likely for me to see your questions as well if you do like the stream, because it pops up in the chat and I can try to memorize your profile photo. But as far as the 49ers wide receivers, guys, we cannot legitimately be trusting them in a 12 team or less. Maybe if you're in those deeper leagues, 32 team types, okay. But as of right now, I'm not trusting them in my starting lineup. Jake Tonges will probably act as the number one target getter, but it's nothing we want to completely put our fantasy lives on. And guys, make sure to spam your start sit questions. I'm answering as many as I possibly can. If you're just now hopping in the stream, make sure to hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds, and subscribe if you haven't already. Jordan Mason, DeMarcado, or Chase Brown. See, I wouldn't lean with DeMarcado in this one just because there's a very real chance that Michael Carter gets some run. Chase Brown, again, in the receiving game, he can be viable. The Lions defense is pretty decent, but Jordan Mason himself as well was losing some usage to Xavier Scott, out of all people, man. Like absolutely insane. They ran almost the same amount of routes as they both did last week. So I definitely am slightly worried when it comes to that, because if he's going to lose most of his receiving upside, I don't love it. And it is a matchup against the Browns that is very tough. So for that, I would go with Chase Brown. I know he's been one of the highest sell targets for the past couple weeks, but he is the guy I would go with on that one. Guys, make sure to spam your start sit questions. I will be answering as many as I possibly can. We have the rankings for the running backs in the Walter Picks app up here on the screen as well, so you guys can internalize that and watch as I yap. Are we going with Kendrick Bourne or Trey Tucker, guys? If you have Thursday Night Football questions, I definitely will be prioritizing those, so make sure to spam them in the comments so I can see them. Kendrick Bourne or Trey Tucker, though, in this one, I would go with Kendrick Bourne because I do believe in a safer target share. Trey Tucker probably has the higher upside in all realistic worlds, but he's just so boom or bust. He had the beautiful matchup of the Bears last week, whose defense really has not been able to stop anybody, and it's really just Geno Smith holding him back. So I would not trust Trey Tucker in this one with those two starts and sits. Are we going with Pittman? Is he a start? Pittman is a borderline start. I definitely like him this week a bit more than I did last, because the Raiders defense is not very good in stopping wide receivers. They do allow a decent amount of fantasy points to that position. Here's a good one. Are we going Kendrick Bourne or Demarcus Robinson? Now, my sleeper pick is Demarcus Robinson, but he is way more risky, guys. Way more risky, because there is a chance he is not up to NFL speed right now because he has been suspended for a while. He hasn't played. And he is older. I believe he's 30 years old. So there is a real chance that even though there is no wide receiver competition, they just keep his snaps restricted because he's just not conditioned enough. So I think Kendrick Bourne is going to be the strongest answer there. I do think Demarcus Robinson could probably catch a touchdown, like a just random deep ball, but that's not what I want to rely our fantasy football points on. Are we going Derrick Henry or Cam? The fact that we have to ask ourselves these questions, it shows how crazy fantasy football is. I would definitely go with Derrick Henry in this one. I know he's had some issues fumbling the football, and he's been losing work to Justice Hill as well. But if you're sitting Derrick Henry and he gets his touchdown like he normally should, it's definitely going to be one that you're not too happy about making that decision for. Are we going Debo or Dobbins at the flex? See, these are both players that I really do like. I would lean with Debo Samuel because we're trending towards not having Terry again. And Jaden Daniels has, at least for now, confirmed that he's going to be playing in this matchup. So Debo Samuel's target share should be that much better. And J.K. Dobbins does get a tougher matchup against the Eagles defense this week. So it's definitely not the most perfect situation for him. But you cannot deny what he's been doing over the past, 4 weeks of the season. He's been looking great. Are we going with the Rams defense or are we going with the Browns defense? Yeah, I love the Rams in this matchup, but the Browns defense themselves is just a stronger unit. And the matchup against the Vikings isn't necessarily bad. Like, yes, they have Justin Jefferson, but I don't believe in Carson Wentz to not throw an interception. When you look at defensive fantasy points allowed, it's more about takeaways, it's more about turnovers than it is just not allowing a lot of points to the offense, because that's just how you score in fantasy football. So I definitely would go with them and hope for the best that Carson Wentz can go back to his prime, maybe not prime, his prime turnover rate of Carson Wentz. Guys, thank you so much for hopping in this live stream. I appreciate you in here. Spam your start sit questions. Anything you got, I will be answering. Just make sure to hit that like button for me as a little value trade off for us, and it lets the stream keep growing, and I can also answer your questions better because I'm trying to remember all the usernames that I see that like the stream so I can prioritize your questions. Who should I trade Egbuka for? That is a great question because Egbuka's value is like so up and down depending on who you ask. I definitely would suggest checking out the Walter Picks trade analyzer because you can just put him in the app and it'll tell you what kind of players you can expect to get or what real value you can get. Um, I would trade him for a good group of guys. It depends if you want a running back or wide receiver. But again, store it in the Walter Picks app. Use code Avery if you haven't already. You can try their start sit tool and the trade analyzer, which I'm showing on screen. Are we going with T. Higgins or Darius Slayton? My goodness, I can't even blame you. I cannot even blame you for asking this question because the fact that we've gotten to this point is so sad, chat. The fact that we've gotten to this point is so sad, chat. I would still go with T. Higgins just in the hope because I do not trust anybody to replace the Malik Neighbors role. If anything, it'll be Wandale with his like target share, but it's really not something I love doing. We're going Kendrick or Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, I would lean Kendrick Bourne here. I think Demarcus Robinson might have the higher potential upside, but there's a very real chance he gives you like 2 fantasy points. So I'm just going to take the middle ground there. Trey Tucker, Devontae Smith. Yeah, this is a good question here. I'm not trusting Trey Tucker because he does the same thing every year where he has a couple really good games and then kind of just fizzles away after that. So I'm starting Devonta Smith, even if it is a tougher matchup against the Broncos defense. Maybe that Broncos team just makes the Eagles pass a little bit more. We know it's not really going to happen though, but Devonta Smith would be my answer in that one. Sutton or Rashad White in the flex. I would go with Courtland Sutton. Pollard or Slayton at the flex. See, that's tough because I'm not a huge Pollard fan right now, but I would go with Pollard over Slayton in that one. Simply because as long as we don't have Tajay Spears in, we'll be okay. But once Tajay Spears comes back, guys, we are 100% panicking on Tony Pollard. Stephon Diggs or Bill Krosky Mary Jim. I would definitely go with Stephon Diggs. I am a Commanders fan. My jersey's hanging up right here. But I do not trust a 3 running back committee just yet. And it is a pretty decent Jacksonville Jaguars defense that they're playing against. So not a spot where I want to take that risk on them. Guys, make sure to keep spamming your start sit questions if you haven't gotten them answered yet. I'm trying my very best. If you hit that like button on the stream, I am trying to memorize the profile photos of you guys that do it so I can prioritize your comments first. And it's free to you guys. It takes 2 seconds. We're going with Rashad White or Sean Tucker. Yeah, I like the Sean Tucker idea. Rashad White is probably going to be the best bet here. Now, in my opinion, Rashad White is not that efficient of a running back. And I mean, the stats will tell you that too. But Sean Tucker is more of like a DFS play than he is completely trust. Are we going with Dak or Kyler this week? This is a close one for me. I would be leaning with Dak just because Kyler now down 2 of his starting running backs, and now we're on to the 3rd and 4th string guys. Like, there is a chance that the run game just does struggle a little bit and cause defenses to focus more on the pass, not stack the box. And so Kyler Murray might struggle a little bit simply because of that. And Dak Prescott's passing touchdowns are always going to be valuable, of course. Are we going with Ladd McConkey or Woody Marks? I would take Ladd McConkey. I love Woody Marks in this matchup against the Ravens. Their defense is very positive in points allowed, but so are the Commanders, and they have not really been able to stop anybody. I know that the Chargers air the ball out to everybody and anybody, but it is only a matter of time. Like, I am somewhat, I guess you would say, panicked on Ladd McConkey, but not enough to say that we shouldn't be starting him in those 2 situations. Are we going with Adams or Debo? Ace, this is a good question. I will be going with Devontae Adams. The touchdown upside is just so much higher. He is leading the NFL in red zone targets right now. He is I don't know if you guys have watched these Ram games. Every single time that this team is in the red zone, drop back, throw it up to Devontae Adams, hope for the best. And it works half the time. So for that upside, I would be going with Devontae Adams. Let's see. Do I flex Keenan or DeMarcado? I have Lad. I would still go Keenan there. I get where you're coming from with like not wanting to double stack, but the Commanders' defense is not good in stopping wide receiver fantasy points. You'd think they would be with like Bobby Wagner and Marshawn Lattimore and Trey Amos too, but like they just not. They're just not. So I would definitely go with Keenan Allen in that one. And there's a very wide range of possibilities for Amari DeMarcado because he could be the RB1 and get everything, or more likely, in my opinion, it could be a split backfield with him and Michael Carter, with Michael Carter getting all of the receiving upside, and then maybe he'll get like the red zone role, third down role, and then it's just not that valuable of a position to be in. It's definitely good on you that you picked up DeMarcado. If you guys still have Michael Carter available on the waivers in your league, you should definitely go pick him up too. But just be aware. Just be aware of like the start sit excitement for him this week. Are we going Harold Fannin or Jake Tonges? I would go Jake Tonges in this one. Again, we really don't have any wide receiver options for the 49ers. And there's a wide range of possibilities for Harold Fannin with Dylan Gabriel in his first start. I assume that means targeting the tight ends a lot more, but he is also splitting and running the same amount of routes as David Njoku every week. So it's not like the trade-off is too worth it there. But shout out to everybody in the stream, man. Keep spamming your start sit questions. Jaden Daniels or Justin Fields. I would definitely be trusting Jaden Daniels in this matchup. Now they both have similar rushing upside, but I think the talent of Jaden Daniels is a bit safer in this matchup that we can trust. Do I go Kendrick Bourne or Josh Palmer? Yes, CJ, I would lean with the Kendrick Bourne play. It looks like a lot of you guys are in deeper leagues and you're really just hunting for the scraps, which is completely fine. That's what you're on this live stream to figure out. I would go with Kendrick Bourne, though. Josh Palmer is a good value, but better in DFS. Like, there's 1 week he'll catch a touchdown, go for 50, and then 1 week he'll get like 1 reception. And I don't really want to be trusting that right now for Josh Allen, especially when you have so many other options in the offense. I need 2 of this 3, Trey Tucker, Jared Jeudy, or Slayton. Yeah, I would sit Trey Tucker in that one. It's between him and Slayton for me, but I just don't trust Jackson Dart, number 1, in his passing attempts because last week it was very, very low. But also, is Darius Slayton really the wide receiver 1? Like, I would definitely have him on my roster to see how that works out, but I wouldn't be trusting it in the very first matchup. I will go ahead and pull up the wide receiver rankings here so you guys can see it. You can kind of like look through here and see where your wide receivers are ranked. But guys, thank you so much for hopping in this live stream. We are approaching this Thursday night football game. Yes, there's a lot of injuries, but we are football fiends and it does not matter. And we are always going to be watching regardless. Do I flex Troy Franklin or Kendrick Bourne in a 16-teamer? Yeah, this is tough. I would go with Kendrick Bourne for the safety. If you're projected to win by a good amount, you can go Troy Franklin. The boomer bust potential for him is absolutely insane. It is a decent, it's like a mid matchup against the Eagles as far as fantasy points allowed to the wide receivers. I definitely would suggest checking out the Walter Pick start sit tool and see what they say, because you can just throw it up on oh, there we go. You can just put it in the app and it'll tell you if you should start or sit these guys, and it'll let you know exactly what you should do in that situation. But yeah, I would probably lean Troy Franklin for the boom or bust upside. He might be a little bit less trustworthy though. Are we going with Rico Dowdle or RJ Harvey? I would be going with RJ Harvey in this one. Thursday Night Football. Thank you so much for hopping back in the stream, Colby. Are we going with Devontae Adams or Keenan Allen? Yeah, I would definitely be going with the upside in Devontae Adams this week. The touchdowns are just always going to be there. The 49ers defense isn't terrible in, allowing fantasy points to the wide receivers. So I think him in this matchup, again, with a touchdown upside, because he is the number 1 most targeted wide receiver in the red zone this year. And that is what I want to get my hands on, especially against this 49ers defense. Do I put Ertz or RJ Harvey at the flex? I would go Zach Ertz in Jaden Daniels' first game back. He should get a decent target share. To be fair, though, I would be looking to trade Zach Ertz for what I can. 1 for 1, probably not much, but if you add him to a deal, it might be better, because all of these other tight ends in the depth chart are starting to get snaps. They're starting not only to get snaps, but also run routes. And if they're running routes that's taking away from Zach Ertz and he is getting a little bit older, I would still go with him in this matchup, but just be aware of that too. Just be aware of that coming up. And guys, thank you so much for hopping in this live stream. Please go down and hit that like button if you haven't already. It takes 2 seconds. It's free to you. but it helps me answer your questions better because I try to memorize the profile photos of the people that like the stream when it pops up in the chat. Do I go Bond, McLaurin, and then May or Jones? Yeah, I would be going with Drake May over Daniel Jones. And then I don't think I would lean with Isaiah Bond. I definitely like him as a stash target, guys. If you haven't already, you should definitely be stashing Isaiah Bond. But if McLaurin is good to go, I would be going with McLaurin for sure. Thank you, no problem. Shout out to you guys for asking your start sit questions, man. I'm trying to answer as many as I possibly can. Keep spamming them. Keep liking the stream as well. Lets me know I'm doing a good job, and we'll keep this thing going all day until the stream ends, bro. Am I lagging again? I might be lagging again. Trevor Lawrence or Bryce Young, Lamar's injury. Man. Man, man, man. Man, man, man. I'll be going with Trevor Lawrence in that one. I'll be going with Trevor Lawrence in that one, man. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to everybody in the stream, man. Are we going with Sean Tucker? Whoa, somebody said Quinshon Judkins. Definitely Quinshon Judkins over Sean Tucker there. Diggs or Godwin at the flex? That is a really good question. I would honestly lean with Chris Godwin. If you look at the target share that he got, 10 targets. He didn't come away with a lot of receptions, but definitely something that we like to see. And I would trust him in this matchup. It is questionable, though, because if Baker Mayfield doesn't play, then I probably wouldn't lean with him there. So just watch Baker Mayfield's injury status, and we'll assess moving in that one. Pittman or Woody in the flex? Honestly, I would take Woody Marks. Like, he has been on the positive trend. He is going to be the safer player, probably less upside as far as a boom potential goes. Again, you can check that in the Walter Picks app. But Woody Marks gets a matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, which is absolutely amazing. The Ravens are top 5 in fantasy points allowed to the running backs this year, chat. So I definitely do like him in that situation. Are we going with Jackson Dart or Bo Nix? Yeah, Bo Nix kind of made his resurgence slightly. Jackson Dart I do like, but I just want to see another game of consistency from him to be able to trust him fully in this week. Are we going with Devontae Adams or Quentin Johnston? I mean, at this point, it has to be Quentin Johnston. Like, I know the name value is a lot better for Devontae Adams, but man, you cannot ignore Quentin Johnston, man. Like, this guy is just scoring touchdowns at every single second. I mean, Devontae Adams is doing the same, but bro, like, it's actually crazy. Here's a good one. I like tight ends. Are we going with Mason Taylor, Tommy Tremble, or Dalton Schultz? Yeah, Dalton Schultz is always a decent option without Cade Stover, which is why he's doing so good. Tommy Tremble actually was decent as well now that Jatavion Sanders is injured. So it really comes down to the matchups here. When you look at the Panthers, they get a really, really positive one against the Miami Dolphins. They are allowing some of the most points to opposing tight ends. They were also really positive in that last year. I might take the gamble and go Tommy Tremble on this one. Chat, am I crazy? Am I crazy, chat? Am I crazy, chat? Chat, I might be crazy. Chat, I might be crazy. Slayton or DeMarcado in the flex? I would lean with DeMarcado. Again, we can't really expect what to see from them because we've seen so much, guys. There's been so much news bouncing back and forth between what this backfield is going to look like. Michael Carter has come out and said himself that he's going to be the RB1, which is absolutely crazy if you guys haven't seen that. I think it'll be more of a 50-50 split. So just be aware of that. Are we going with Goff or Darnold? I'll go with Jared Goff. I'll be going with Jared Goff. Tonjes Schultz or Mason Taylor. Yeah, I honestly am taking the gamble with Jake Tonjes this week. There's nobody else. I mean, the Rams defense is very, very good. We have to be aware of that. So his boom and bust potential is very drastic. But I mean, it's Demarcus Robinson, it's Kendrick Bourne. Like, those guys are not main target getters. This could be a Jake Tonjes week. Like, if we're being completely honest here, it definitely could be. It definitely could be. Tunges or Goddard? Okay, we're going a little bit too high in the rankings here. I would still be going with Goddard. The Broncos defense is good, but with the amount of touchdowns that Dallas Goddard has had, not just lucky touchdowns either, like he's getting designed plays at the goal line. And that is what I like to see. That is what I love to see. So I don't think you can sit him right now. Are we going with Strange or Ertz? Yeah, I like all the tight end questions coming in from you guys. I would honestly go with Brenton Strange. Like this offense is passing at a very high rate, and Strange has quietly been one of the most targeted tight ends. Now the Chiefs defense is good. So just be aware of that. His boom and bust potential is also going to be pretty drastic. Just be aware of that. And everybody in the chat, keep spamming your start sit questions. I'm going to try to answer as many as I possibly can before we hit 8:15 when this game starts, guys. And please go down and hit that like button on the stream. It's free to you. It takes 2 seconds, and it makes it so much easier for me to see your comment because I see the likes in the chat.
The 2026 Chevy Equinox is more than an SUV.
Obviously,
it's your Sunday tailgate and your parking lot snack bar. Your lucky jersey, your chairs, and your big cooler fit perfectly in your even bigger cargo space. And when it's go time, your 11.3-inch diagonal touchscreen's got the playbook, the playlist, and the tech to stay a step ahead.
Very much so.
It's more than an SUV.
Very much so.
It's your Equinox. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Absurd.
Living my life on a jet, grind round. 2 O's with me, one like the other one, Bobby Brown. Business is business. 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 Yeah. Business is business. 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 Yeah. Business is business. 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 Yeah. Business is business. Business is business. Business is business. Business is business. Business is business.
Poor passing volume might honestly be my answer for this one. He's passing an insane amount. Now, Jalen Coker is not going to be back in this matchup, which definitely is unfortunate. Or going with Stafford or Mahomes. Honestly, with the way Mahomes has been playing, you have to go with him. But I that's a really, really tough question. I would suggest putting it in the Walter Picks app, putting it in their trade analyzer, and seeing what they say. Because you can put all of your questions in the start sit tool, and it'll let you know the right decision to make. Music? Question mark. Should we get some music? Woody Marks or Jordan Mason? Yeah, that's tough. I would take the gamble with Woody Marks. Now that's probably not going to be a smart decision. If you want to just go straight safety, it will be Aaron Jones. But the matchup is very tough. The matchup is very tough for Aaron Jones against the Cleveland Browns. They have barely allowed any wide receivers or running back to go over 10.
The 2026 Chevy Equinox is more than an SUV. It's your Sunday tailgate and your parking lot snack bar. Your lucky jersey, your chairs, and your big cooler fit perfectly in your even bigger cargo space. And when it's go time, your 11.3-inch diagonal touchscreen's got the playbook, the playlist, and the tech to stay a step ahead.
I see what you guys are talking about. Thank you guys for letting me know. AJ Brown or Jalen Waddle. Honestly, I would not be mad. I would not be mad about going with Jalen Waddle here, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's perfectly fine, chat. I think that's perfectly fine, chat. Okay, Waller or Ertz, man. Bro, I would honestly go Darren Waller without Tyreek Hill. Darren Waller has gotten an insane, like, he did get saved by his touchdowns, but he gets an insane boost without Tyreek Hill there. I do think Malik Washington is worth a stash 100% if you haven't picked him up off the waiver wire yet. But Darren Waller definitely gets the biggest upgrade from Tyreek Hill being out. Are we going with Marv, Sutton, or Ladd McConkey? Yeah, see, this is one of the toughest questions for me because I do think Ladd is on the comeback eventually. Now, this week, I feel it in my bones right now because the Washington Commanders defense is allowing so many points to opposing wide receivers. But to me, it's just got to be Sutton. I think Ladd is the sleeper pick. I really do believe he can cut up on this Washington defense. But Courtland Sutton is just a lot safer. Would I start Kendre Miller? See, that's a good question. I would not go through and start or trust Kendre Miller just yet. I 100% think he is one of the best stashes of the week. Honestly, probably of the month. Like Alvin Kamara, he has been declining in efficiency. He's not as efficient as Kendre Miller is this year. He has more yards after contact, more broken tackles, missed tackles forced per attempt, and he looked good. And Kellen Moore is definitely seeing that, which is why he's been getting more and more snaps every single week. So he's definitely somebody I would keep rostered, but it's a little bit too risky to trust this week. Kyler or Jaden Daniels, I would definitely be going with Jaden Daniels. His first week back, it's definitely going to be a little bit more risky, but still, the rushing upside for Jaden Daniels is something that I absolutely love. So obviously, we're going to be going with that. But yeah, good question. Thank you guys so much for hopping in the chat. If you haven't already, hit that like button on the stream. I'm trying to prioritize everybody that likes the stream in the comments because I can see the profile picture of you guys. And we are slowly approaching, I guess quickly approaching this 8:15 tip-off, guys. I'm trying to answer as many as I can. Are we going Dart, Baker, or Kyler Murray? Yeah, with Baker questionable, or at least dealing with that injury, Dart is really the risky option. Dart is really the risky option, but his rushing upside is just so insane. I might lean with, bro, call me crazy. Call me crazy, chat. But the matchup against the Saints defense, it's not the worst in the world. It's not the worst in the world, but it's definitely not negative. Do I stack Herbert and Quentin Johnston, or do I go Baker and Ibuka this week? Man, that is honestly, like, the fact that you have both of those stacks is beautiful. I would take Justin Herbert and Quentin Johnston, though, in this one. Again, just because the Commanders matchup is so positive. Like, their defense really hasn't been able to stop anybody. So I think Quentin Johnston can eat. Some of these wide receivers are going to eat. Hopefully, this isn't the first game where Quentin Johnston just puts up a dud. Now, he has been scoring a ton of touchdowns. Is that going to continue? Who knows? But I definitely like that stack a little bit better. But Ibuka has been doing absolutely amazing. Are we going with the Giants or the Cardinals defense in this matchup? Yeah, I would be going with the Cardinals against the Titans. I do think the Giants is decent, but the Saints offense hasn't been as bad as people like claim them to be. Like, it is bad, but not historically bad. The Titans offense is just, they're averaging 160 passing yards a game. There's so much frustration around that offense, and it's like it's just not good. It's just not good. Are we going with Jamar Chase sit or no? I'm starting Jamar Chase. He's definitely moved down the rankings here. But he's still worth a start. T. Higgins is who I'm more worried about, though. And Jamar Chase is always going to get some design targets, so it's not terrible as far as the grand scheme of starts and sits this week. Thoughts on... Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Drop DJ Moore, question mark. DJ Moore, honestly, is such... I believed in him coming into this year. I did not expect Rome Odunze to be the next wide receiver one breakout candidate guy. I would not drop DJ Moore yet, though. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Are we going with Hurts or May? Yeah, it has to be Jalen Hurts. I mean, I know the pace of play for this team is just so bad, but they run the ball a lot. There's always those upside opportunities of him scoring touchdowns himself. Drake May also has been doing really good in the rushing category as well. But Jalen Hurts, even if in a tougher matchup against the Denver Broncos, is one that I do like. Harvey or Chase Brown? I would definitely be going with Chase Brown there still. Let's see. Kendrick Bourne or Cooper Kupp? Man, I don't trust Cooper Kupp on a week-to-week basis enough. Especially in this matchup. Now, I know Sam Darnold has been like decent passing, but honestly, Kendrick Bourne, he's going to be the more boomer bust player, but I would just lean with him. Thoughts on Tank Bigsby? Should I drop him and pick up Sean Tucker? They're both even like handcuffs for me. I think Bucky Irving is still not officially ruled out for week 5. In that case, like, it's really a wash. I would keep Bashaw Tootin. Or sorry, Tank Bigsby. Yeah, no, I would drop Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby really, unless Saquon gets injured, I don't know why I read that as baseball too. Unless Saquon gets injured, I would definitely drop him there. Craft on a buy. I have Jawan in. Should I pick up Tonjes and drop Jawan with the injury risk? Yeah, that's a question that I've been seeing a lot of people deal with. I personally don't think Jawan Johnson is going to miss. It definitely is like the yin and yang of that though, because who is your next best option on the waivers? Probably nobody good. But I do think Jake Tonjes still does have a bit more boom bust potential than people think. Are we going with Rams or Texans defense this week? I would definitely be going with the Rams defense. Mac Jones is not allergic to throwing interceptions, and the Rams defense themselves is just a pretty solid unit. Do I start Kendrick Bourne, Calvin Ridley, or Juju Smith-Schuster? Man, Calvin Ridley has been such a disappointment this year, and I completely understand it. I still think he has potential. I would not go with Juju, especially now with not Malik Neighbors, with Xavier Worthy back. And Kendrick Bourne is so boomer bust. Like, it would be between them two, but I want to trust Calvin Ridley in this matchup. I don't want him to do me wrong. I'm going with Calvin Ridley on that. Allen or Goff? Definitely Allen. 100% Allen. Do I start Marvin Harrison Jr.? I wouldn't love it. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a bit obviously boom bust this week. He kind of has been all year. The touchdown last week did save him, but it also did give him a little bit of a boost in like trust and belief in himself. So maybe that has something to maybe we can see that coming up in this week too. But it depends who you're starting and sitting him over, but I definitely would not be super excited to put him in our starting lineups if you have other guys that are capable as well. Should I drop Keon Coleman for Miller or Dobbs or DeMarcado or Michael Carter for Miller? Yeah, I would honestly just keep your guys for now. The problem with Courtland Sutton is that, or sorry, not Courtland Sutton, Keon Coleman. He's like never going to be bad enough to be a complete drop, but he's also never going to be consistent and trustworthy enough to be a must-start player every week. So, like, that's kind of the back and forth you're getting. If it were me, I would try to take Keon Coleman, wait till he has a good game, and then package him with another player and try to get the slightest upgrade. Even if technically you lose the deal, as long as you can just, because you would drop him anyways. So even if you technically lose the deal, like, get rid of Keon Coleman that way and then pick up Kendrick Miller. I don't think Kendrick Miller is going to be startable anytime soon. I do think he is one of the best stash targets, though. Do I trade Justin Jefferson for Devon Achane? I would keep Justin Jefferson. I see the vision there, but I would keep Justin Jefferson. Do I start Kyron or Marks? I would start Kyron in this matchup. I think he will find a good amount of success in outside runs because the 49ers are a lot more volatile in that aspect of the run game. Kenneth Gainwell, Brashard Smith, or Michael Carter in a dynasty league where I have an open spot. Well, if you're in a dynasty league, I would definitely prioritize Brashard Smith. I 1000% believe at some point he is going to be this RB1. This season, I think it's even possible. Kenneth Gainwell is good, but really no more than a premium handcuff running back. Like, if Jalen Warren can stay healthy, he's really not going to be that valuable. They have a bye week and then the Browns the week after. So definitely worrisome there. And then Michael Carter is not going to be anything super crazy. And we probably will have Trey Benson coming back at some point in the year too. So I would definitely go with Brashard Smith. I actually just made a TikTok. I just made a video about my mustache players, and Brashard Smith was one of them. I actually do really believe in his upside. But guys, we are slowly / quickly approaching this kickoff for the 49ers and the Rams game. If you guys haven't already, please hit that like button on the stream. It takes 2 seconds. I really appreciate it. It helps me as a creator, but we can keep answering these start sit questions until that tip off happens exactly. So shout out to all of you guys in the stream, still chilling in here. Are we starting Marvin Harrison Jr.? I don't love it. If you need to, you can, though. Again, it depends who over. Waller, Theo Johnson, or Ingram, rest of season. Okay. I think Waller is going to be the popular answer just with what he's done last week. Tyreek going down definitely does help him. He is the more boom or buzz. You're just putting all of your chips in and hopes it works kind of situation. I would take Evan Ingram in that just because I don't fully think that he's cooked for the rest of season. he's always had to thrive off volume alone. Like, he doesn't really get too many yards after the catch. He's not like a crazy, crazy talent, at least now. But I do think he would be the best option out of all those guys. Again, thank you guys so much for hopping in the stream, man. I absolutely love talking to you guys here. We're going with RJ Harvey. Is he ever going to take over JK? That's a really good question, Cody. I would say yes. The question is this season. At some point, I do believe it's going to happen. Now we know historically that rookies get more involved after the bye weeks, but with the way that J.K. Dobbins is playing, there's no reason that he should stop. If anything, I think RJ Harvey can maybe get like a 60-40 split from J.K. Dobbins, but it's going to be a long time until we see that. I am also a person that rosters RJ Harvey, and I'm just sitting him on my bench, and I'm waiting, and I'm being patient. It is really kind of like a bleak outlook right now. But again, we know for a fact when we draft our rookies, this is going to happen. And most of the time, they are going to start slow. So do not just give up on your running back rookies, even wide receiver rookies, when they don't start performing instantly, because that's what we drafted them for. We knew that. You got to have golden hands, or diamond hands, I think they call it. Calvin Ridley hasn't practiced all week, but would you still risk to see if he plays? The next best option is Kendrick Bourne. Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Because of the options, like if you don't go Calvin Ridley or if you go with Calvin Ridley and he's injured, you're gonna have to start somebody on the waiver wire. Those options probably are not much better. So maybe just from a safety perspective, go with Kendrick Bourne and hope for the best. It's just such a wide range of outcomes with them. Start one, Ladd, Brian Thomas Jr., Diggs, just traded for Lav and a 12-man. I do think Ladd is gonna be valuable eventually. I like this matchup against the Commanders, man. Like I want to go with Ladd. But I do also trust Brian Thomas Jr. probably a little bit more than I should, man. Probably a little bit more than I should. Like his underlying numbers are still positive. He did start the season a little bit slow. He dropped some passes. That's tough though. That's a lot of good options you do have at the flex spot for you. Okay, let's see. Pick 2. Bourne, DeMarcado, Carter, Woody Franklin. Team is cooked right now. Sprite King. I understand, man. We're dealing with so many injuries in fantasy. It's completely valid that this is what you're dealing with. I would definitely go with Woody Marks at number 1. And then probably Kendrick Bourne at the 2. Again, I like Michael Carter and Amari DeMarcado both, but I just really want to see what kind of split we're dealing with here. Like it is a very, very positive matchup that the Cardinals get. So it's like you take your shot on one of them and hopes it hit. But if they're both going to split evenly 50-50, then it's like, okay, what are we doing? You know, it's just very, very risky. Either Slayton or Tucker or Harrison Jr. Okay, yeah, I would definitely go with Marvin Harrison then. That's all I have. I'm going Tonjes over Fannin. Is that smart? I think it's perfectly fine. He's really the only guy that can catch passes right now, so I think it's fine. I picked up DeMarcado, but I wonder if I should be looking at Carter, RJ Harvey, or Brashard Smith. It depends if you're looking for more of like a long-term guy or a short-term guy. We really have no idea what to expect, at least of right now with this Cardinals backfield. Because at first it was DeMarcado, and now I'm hearing some things saying that it's going to be Michael Carter. I really don't think it'll ever be like a 1A situation to like a 2A. I think it's just going to be split 50-50. Probably hold DeMarcado for now. I think Brashard Smith in the long term is going to be a valid option, but out of those group of guys, you don't need to pick him up just yet. 2 quarterback league. Is Dart a good QB2 this week or Lawrence? No, I think Dart is completely fine. He gets a good matchup against the Saints. I think that's perfectly fine. Slayton, Tucker, or Marvin Harrison. It's a rough week. I would definitely go Marv there. Gotcha. Thanks. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Sprite King, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you have not hit that like button already, please go ahead and do that. We are almost done with this stream. I'm trying to get to all of the starts and questions before we hop off here. We're going with Kavonte Turpin versus Kendrick Bourne. I'm going with Kendrick Bourne over Turpin just for the safety this week. Thursday Night Football question, pick 2, Jacoby, Devontae, Godwin, Sutton, and Mason. Half PPR, that is important. I would go with Devontae Adams, number 1 and half PPR again, because he doesn't rely solely on the receptions. Like he runs a lot of deep routes and gets a lot of touchdowns. Jacoby Myers, I also do love. Chris Godwin, if Baker Mayfield is not going to play, isn't going to be great. I would probably take the chance on Jacoby Myers this week. The Colts matchup is definitely a positive one and not one we can run away from. Would I drop Pittman, Troy Franklin, or Jordan Mason to pick up Matt Stafford? I have Bo Nix and no backup. I mean, I think it's a week by week basis. If you have Bo Nix, you don't really need to pick up Matt Stafford now because he's healthy. If that ever changes, you can pick him up. I would just keep your guys. Let's see here. All right, starting quarterback. Do I go with Goff, Young, or Stroud with Lamar Jackson's injury? Yeah, I would honestly lean CJ Stroud in this one. I like the matchup a lot against the Ravens defense. They're allowing so many points to opposing wide receivers, quarterbacks, everybody. So I'm taking that risk and just going with CJ Stroud and hope it works out for me. I traded Ashton Genty and Tet for Marion Hampton. That is a steep price. I think it depends like how deep your league is and what your other positions are looking like. I think that's a pretty steep price. But if you're in a shallower league, it's definitely better. What are we thinking about Travion Henderson? Honestly, I'm sort of giving up on him, and I know the consensus thing to do is like what I was just talking about. If you have rookies, you don't panic on them. You know they're going to start slow. But like we've seen this Patriots backfield and just the coaching in general, they just don't have RB1s. I don't see a world where Ramondre or Antonio Gibson go away completely. I could see one of them going away, but I think it's always going to be a split backfield. I guess you hold Trevion. He's not like a buy candidate for me. He's not really somebody I trust because he just hasn't looked great. Like he doesn't look great right now, just from like a per touch basis. Kyron Williams or Worthy of the flex. I would go with Worthy this week without Rashid Rice still. He's going to be a top option, and it's a pretty decent matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Have PPR, which player do you like better this week, Bourne or Michael Carter? Yeah, I think Michael Carter is going to get a majority of his upside in the receiving game rather than just like rushing attempts and touchdowns. So I'll probably lean with Kendrick Bourne there and hope for the best. Thank you. Shout out to you, Andrew. Yo, shout out to you too. Everybody spamming the thanks you. Oh, we got another one. Shout out to you guys. Thank you guys so much for hopping in this live stream, man. You guys are absolutely amazing. This is exactly why I do these live streams, man. If you haven't hit that like button, please do it on your way out before you head out, because we have like 5 minutes until the stream ends and the games start for week 5, man. Week 5 is almost officially underway. Should I trade JSN, Drake May, and Jordan Mason for Saquon and Lamar Jackson? Honestly, if you have a deep enough bench, I think that's fine. You're getting the best player in the deal on both ends. You get Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he's going to be injured, but you can probably find a waiver wire guy like Matthew Stafford to start for you. And then Saquon for Jordan Mason and JSN. I definitely think JSN is slept on. I don't love giving him up. But again, if you have good wide receiver options outside of him and it's not like T. Higgins that you're stuck with, I definitely think it's fine. 83 likes. Let's go, Andrew. Yes, sir. Getting hit by the struggle this season. What two running backs would I start this week? Justice Hill. Whoa. Xavier Scott and Brashard Smith. My goodness. I would definitely take Justice Hill at number 1 because there is a chance that he just gets used in the receiving game a lot. Xavier Scott is kind of the same way, but it is a really tough matchup against the Browns, who do not allow a lot of fantasy points to running backs. They are more positive in receptions out of the backfield than just straight rushing yards. But Justice Hill definitely number 1, and then Brashard Smith is like a questionable, like one of my top stashes, but right now it's a little bit better. JSN better, yeah. Thanks, I got you. Shout out to you, man. Thank you guys so much for hopping in this live stream. I have Nico, Ted, Debo, Mike Evans. Yeah, I think that's fine. I would try to move off of Mike Evans somehow. Definitely keep Nico, keep Ted, because I really do believe Ted is going to break out. And then Debo is fine too. I would try to take Mike Evans and then maybe like one of your bench pieces and try to upgrade right there. Sorry, you might have answered this already. Do I start Keenan Allen or Courtland Sutton? Yeah, that one's really close for me. I think Courtland Sutton has upside in this matchup. But Keenan Allen is going to be safer because, bro, the Commanders defense, man. The Commanders defense, bro. And I am a Commanders fan, so it absolutely sucks. Thanks, man. Hopefully Hill catches 5 touchdowns this week. Hey, I hope so too. I hope so too, just for you, bro. I mean, it's definitely possible with the role that he plays. Bet, thanks. Thank you guys so much, man. We are very quickly approaching 8:10, man. I shout out to all of you guys. I should probably go check my lineups too. I have been consumed. 100% of my brain power goes to fantasy football. So I should probably check my lineups and make sure I'm starting the right players, because I don't want to end up like answering everybody's question in the stream and then just forget. Yeah, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for your comment. Don't know who to start. Need help on this one bad. Let me know your comments again. I think I might have missed it. Oh, Justice Hill or Woody Marks. I would go with Woody Marks here. Again, a very, very positive matchup against the Ravens defense. I absolutely love that. Guys, you were catching me live in the moment, checking my lineups to see if I'm starting the right players, because I have not had a chance all day to even look, to even take a sniff at my start sit decisions, man. Appreciate you, bro. Shout out to you, man. Bro, everybody in these YouTube chats are always so positive, man. Shout out to everybody in the stream. You guys are the real OGs, man. This is what I do it for. Would I start Slayton, Bourne, or Io Manor? Oh my goodness, Cole. I wouldn't go Bourne. I wouldn't go Bourne in this one. I think Io Manor is a decent option. Slayton is going to be your more boom or bust kind of guy. But I don't think I would go Bourne in this one. If Bucky is out, White or Pollard, oh man. I really do not believe in Pollard, but until we get Tajay Spears back, Pollard is probably going to be the safer option, because I do believe Sean Tucker is going to get used a lot more. Are we going with Turpin or Myers? Definitely Jacoby Myers. Definitely Jacoby Myers. I know he hasn't necessarily lived up to the potential yet, but I like him a lot. Am I taking Tet and Jordan Mason for Egbuka? I would rather have Tet and Jordan Mason over Egbuka there. I would look to like trade off of Jordan Mason though, because Aaron Jones is eventually going to come back, and the fact that that Xavier Scott is working in is definitely a little bit questionable. But no, I would definitely take those two guys. I really do believe in Tet in his upside. I would 100% do. I know he hasn't necessarily done amazing as far as like fantasy points. He hasn't had his like breakout game yet, but I do like it a lot. And I think there's a potential, because the target share is really, really high. The potential is very much there. So he is a guy that I would be going. I would also trade for George Kittle if you haven't already. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I want decent value for Mason. Yeah, it's 100% understandable. That's 100% understandable. Why is Quinshon Judkins on my bench, chat? Why is Quinshon Judkins on my bench, chat? Io Manor or Mooney for the rest of season? Mooney's probably going to be safer. I think the target share is more expected. Chats. Chat, I think we're just going to have to roll with it. I think we're just going to have to roll with it, chat. Last one. Turpin or Jacoby Myers. Yeah, definitely Jacoby Myers there. Definitely Jacoby Myers there. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If you are just now pulling up, are we going with Danny or Stafford? I honestly would lean Stafford in this matchup. I do believe in his passing upside. Guys, thank you so much for hopping in this live stream, man. We are about to get out of this thing, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Thank you guys so much for hopping in here and spending some time. You guys are absolutely amazing. I will see you guys in the next live stream coming very, very soon. I will be here every Thursday. You guys can check my waiver wire videos coming out every Monday. You guys are absolutely amazing. I will see you in the next stream coming very, very soon.